Originally released in 2019 and developed by Ground Shatter, RICO is a first-person shooter set in a procedurally generated world where you play as a member of an outside-the-box police task force called RICO. It's your job to take down the lowest of the low when it would just take too long to get a warrant, and time is of the essence. With eye-catching, cel-shaded graphics, fast and frantic gameplay, and easy-to-pick-up mechanics, you would think RICO was a surefire hit, right? Well, yes and no. How's it going, fellow geeks? GamerDad79 here, and welcome to GameFly's Rental Reviews. Today, we rented RICO for the PS4, and later for Steam, but we'll get into that in a minute. I really wasn't sure what to expect when I popped this game into my PS5 because it kind of been a while since I added it to my GameFly queue, so I kind of went into this game a little blindly. If you're not familiar with GameFly, it's this subscription-based game rental service that allows you to, rent and play all your favorite games for like just one low monthly cost. Think of it kind of like the Netflix for video games, except with physical games instead of digital. Do you remember when Netflix used to actually send DVDs to your house? God, I'm old. With a pretty decent library of games to choose from and the ability to keep games for as long as you want, GameFly provides a pretty cost-effective way to play the latest and greatest games without breaking the bank, because let's face it, who really has $70+ to plunk down on several games a month? Not only that, but you can really check out the games that you really weren't sure of. You didn't want to waste your hard-earned money on if the game turned out to be bad. And that's kind of where RICO comes into play. It was one of those games that looked interesting, but I really wasn't sure I wanted to spend my money on. So without further ado, let's check out RICO for the PS4, and later on Steam, but we'll get into that in a minute. There isn't much to the story of RICO. Crime is at an all-time high, gangs run rampant, and the cops are just metaphorically putting out fires instead of preventing crimes. You're part of the RICO Task Force, an organization that's called in when time is of the essence and a warrant can't be granted in time. So you go busting down doors, shooting up some bad guys, and collecting as much loot as you can. And that's pretty much it. The rail-thin, and I do mean rail-thin story, is just there to give you a reason to get into the building, get into the rooms, get into each area, and get into the action. There is a branching story, if you can call it that. If you're able to complete a level, you're then able to choose what area you go to next. There's like several different branching areas you could access next. Each area is rated on like a 1 to 5 difficulty level, and if you fail a level, you don't have access to the rest of that branch, and you could get closed out of certain gear. So you can tell that this was not a AAA game, but I was really impressed with the visuals. One of the things I always say is that developers really need to pick an art style that kind of suits the game they're trying to make. There's too many times that you see a game that comes out, it just doesn't look right because they're trying to go in a direction that just doesn't work for them. Well, I am not, by any means necessary, a graphics junkie. Bad graphics can make a game difficult to enjoy to its fullest. RICO uses cel-shaded graphics, which gives the game kind of like a cartoony look to it, which I really liked. Now, I'm actually a big fan of games that use cel animation because everything really looks kind of colorful and everything kind of pops on your screen. Now, levels can be kind of repetitive, and that's something we will go into a bit more here in just a few minutes, but in my opinion, the best way to enjoy RICO is in small bursts, so the repetitive nature doesn't hinder the game too much in that regard. Simply put, RICO is a fast-paced, roguelike shooter. The mechanics are easy to learn and fun to play. It kind of took me back to simpler times when everything didn't have to be so complicated. That's one of the reasons I really don't enjoy many modern day shooters, is that they make things overly complex, all in the name of adding new gameplay elements that really don't need to be there. Someone described RICO as kind of like a modern day take on the original Doom game, and I couldn't agree more. It was simple, fast-paced, fun, and easy to learn. As you bust into a room, things kind of go into like this Max Payne-like slow motion where you can line up your shots and take out a whole room of bad guys pretty easily. Now, like I said, just like the level design, the gameplay can get a bit repetitive. You're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. But again, in my opinion, RICO is best played in small bursts, and you really don't get burned out on it that way. Now, there is a multiplayer mode in RICO, but I really didn't get a chance to try that out. It seemed fun though, from what I could tell, because you can really go in all tactical-like, and communication was really key to surviving the seemingly never-ending flood of bad guys. So yes, this is a PS4 game review. However, after spending some time with RICO, I realized that I would enjoy this game a whole lot more on my Steam Deck than I would on my PlayStation. I thought it just lent itself a lot more to just picking up my deck, playing a few levels and then doing something else. Now, the game isn't officially supported on the deck as of this review, and I don't think it ever will be, but usually there are workarounds for this. Plus, the game was on sale for like $4, so I thought it was a no-brainer. Fortunately, that was not the case. Now, while the game does run on the Steam Deck, and I was easily able to get around 60 frames per second with just a little bit of tinkering, the game constantly crashed on me while trying to load up the next level. I would have to exit the game and come back in, and sometimes that wouldn't even work, and I would have to restart the game again. While annoying, that wouldn't be that big of an issue for me. However, when I had to restart, for some reason the game registered that as I quit the game mid-level and counted it as a loss for me, which blocked me off from attempting that level again and blocked me from the rest of the branch. This was just too much for me to overcome, and even after trying different Proton versions, I went through several different ones, I still couldn't get the game to run smoothly and not crash on me. So, unfortunately, I had to use Steam's return policy and get my money back. I did look into getting the game on console, but it goes anywhere from like $20 to $30, and the game just isn't worth that much. It's fun, but not $30 worth of fun. I would have been okay with spending $15 on it, and it was on sale it was on sale for $4 when I got it, and I thought that would have been great if the game would have actually ran right. RICO kind of had a lot going for it. It's a decent game that offers a fun, fast-paced shooting experience. The procedurally generated levels keep the gameplay fresh and engaging, and we never really know what to expect from one room to another. The graphics and sound design are both solid with the cell animation and some nice attention to detail in the level design. However, there are some drawbacks. The game can get quite repetitive after a while, as you're essentially doing the same thing over and over again in each level. The AI of the enemies also felt fairly basic, which can make the game feel a bit too easy at times. I felt RICO was the perfect game for the deck, but ultimately what turned me off was the constant crashing and losing my progress because of it. If you could find it on sale and enjoy simple, fun shooters, you could get some enjoyment out of this. However, I would avoid it completely at full price, and definitely not on the Steam Deck. Alright fellow geeks, that is it for today's video. If you know of any games like RICO that actually work on the deck, please let me know in the comments section below. I would like to play them. So, until next time, I'm GamerDad79. Keep on geeking on.